We're mobile. Take Fox Sports 1350 with you using iHeartRadio. Nobody does NASCAR in Riverside quite like us. Fox Sports 1350.
What's up? This is TJ Ward from the Denver Broncos. You're now tuning to IE Sports.
The Inland Empire Sports Authority.
Yes, we are live in the great city of Riverside at the iHeartRadio studios. It is IE Sportsnet, connected by Boost Mobile on Fox Sports 1350. I am your host, Eternal.
And we are so fresh. And you know I am the one and only Coach B. When it comes to Inland Empire Sports, the conversation starts and stops. So you know it's funny, Eternal. When the drop was playing before we came in, it was a NASCAR drop. And I was having a conversation with Brandy yesterday, and I said, this IE Sportsnet thing is just bigger than us. Because do you remember it was about 3 years ago when we were covering NASCAR and we were in that other station, yes, and we were driving under the tunnel, and there was a big sign for Fox 1350.
Oh, yes, I remember.
And we looked at each other and said, dude, we didn't know how.
Right.
But we said, we're going to get on that station.
Oh, yeah, I remember that vividly, man. And again, bam, fast forward, and here we are in the great city of Riverside.
Your hometown, correct?
Beautiful thing, man.
Born and raised with the Bell.
Yeah, right there, Ramona High School, Nichols Park. How you doing? You know how we doing.
But the boxer, the UFC guy, has a bell in his head. I've never seen the Riverside Bell in your head. Even at the Riverside All-Star game, They had the bell on their chest. I've never seen the bell on you. Yeah,
well, because the bell, see, some people get a haircut. Some people may get it tattooed. However, I just walk with it.
When I used to have hair, I'd be able to do stuff like that.
Man. I remember, there's a couple of times, I remember, I had the talented hair guy. Big up to my man Chris G. He used to put all kind of weird stuff. I mean,
but never a bell.
No.
Okay.
No. We because like I said, like some of us are the city. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you're bigger than the city is what you're saying. I would say probably Bobby Bonds would be bigger than the city. Reggie Miller. Cheryl Miller.
Do you see them?
Barry Bonds.
Well, who do you see, though?
Well, they're so legendary.
I know, but who do you see?
They're so legendary. Well, on radio, people can't see you.
Truth be told, right. But here's what you guys. I do have to make sure. I do have to make sure. We mentioned this. Today is the 38th annual Black History Parade car show and expo.
You were supposed to be in that. What?
We can't. I mean, I told you about it, G.
Yeah. You know what? Talk to my people and make sure that I have clears because I'm gonna be in LBC today.
Oh, you gonna be?
Yeah.
Well, it's all good. I mean, we don't have a car. I mean,
What time is it?
It takes place at 10 o'clock today. Okay. And just to let you guys know, I know there's a little bit of precipitation outside.
Yes, it is.
It is going to proceed. I mean, it's going to get out of here, and by 10 o'clock, we'll have some. It'll.
I hope so, because black folks in the rain, they don't.
Yeah, I don't want to get my jerry curl too.
Yeah, right,
yeah,
right.
Absolutely, I don't want to get because the curl gets wet. You know how that's never a good thing. But anyway, so yeah, that'll be downtown Riverside. So if you guys want to come out. It's gonna be, it's the 38th annual. It's gonna be a great thing, and I just welcome everybody to come out there.
There you go,
Coach B.
We are fortunate. We call her the fifth Beatle. She has been doing some very amazing things out in the Inland Valley, and this is one of the reasons. We're excited because we have the godfather of the Inland Valley Classic coming up in the next segment. But
he looked up like who, me?
But what we love is the name Inland Valley. It's all San Bernardino County.
Yes, indeed.
And she's with the Southern California newspaper group now, but she writes for the Inland Valley Daily Bulletin as well as the Sun. So we're joined on the phone by Southern California News Group sports reporter Miss Michelle Gardner on IE Sportsnet's Fox Sports 1350 with Coach B and Eternal.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How are you, Miss Gardner?
I'm just dandy.
Fantastic. Thank you. Well, first thing first, thank you so much for getting up early with us. It's always a pleasure to have you on. We follow your stuff closely. You're always on point. I mean, in terms of, you're right there. You got boots on the ground. The biggest news, I think, of high school basketball this
Did something big happen in Chino Hills? I haven't seen it all over ESPN lately.
Right. But, the Chino Hills, obviously they did lose to the National Power Oak Hill, now 27-1 overall, 10-0 in league. Give us a little bit of a breakdown about Chino Hills and that game in particular.
Well, that game was I've never been in a game where I had to be at a game at 4 o'clock for a game that was playing at 9:30.
Wow.
I mean, it was ridiculous. It was a packed crowd, 5,000 people there, media there. I've never seen anything like it. Now, to put this in perspective, this Oak Hill team is a national boarding school, recruits basketball players. Their starting lineup, they had a kid going to Texas, kid going to Nebraska. Kansas.
Wow.
Kid going to Creighton. We're talking. This is a basketball powerhouse. All 6'8", 6'9" guys.
Oh wow.
This was a really, really good team. So anybody that wants to panic because, oh, my God, they lost a game, I mean, they almost beat this team. They're just a little public school. Come on.
Right.
So I don't think a loss was the worst thing that could have happened to this team. The pressure is off. The win streak, forget it. Just play.
Right.
Look at the rest of the goals. I don't think that that's the worst thing that could have happened. And they were winning most of that game until 2 minutes left. They just made a couple turnovers and couldn't make free throws when they needed to. And also Jello Ball wasn't completely right either. I hate to use that as an excuse, and I know they won't either. But he had been sick all week, and to me, he still didn't look right. And then he rolled an ankle, so he wasn't right for about half the game. So a lot of factors there. I think that they're going to come back from that just fine.
And so people know, it's a disclaimer, it's Oak Hill, not Oaks Hill, up in the high desert.
Right. There is a difference. Now, one of the things obviously what everybody's been talking about here, Ms. Gardner, and I want you to give me some perspective, especially from a journalist perspective. I know, as a former Park Rec MVP 2 times in a row, I think maybe we could talk about it. But you weren't in attendance, obviously, but the buzz around Lamelo Ball's 92-point performance against Los Osos has obviously went national. I know we have a coach here with us, and I'm still trying to figure out how do you allow that to happen.
But Cheryl Miller still put up more.
Guarantee. I want to make sure. I always make sure I put that out there. Cheryl Miller actually put up a hundo. But you saw. I mean, you hear about this. What is your perspective on him getting that 100? I know obviously he dedicated that game to a young lady who was suffering, had emergency heart surgery. So again, prayers go out to her. But give us some perspective on that, Ms. Gardner, if you don't mind, please.
Well, first, the funny thing here is, I decided to cover, and my bosses decided, okay, let's go cover somebody else. I'm taking a little bit of crap for only covering them, okay? So they lose, the winning streak's gone, okay, let's go cover somebody else, see what happens.
Right, exactly.
Okay?
I know.
So basically, I think I have to cover this team every game now
right.
because you never know if you're going to see something you've never seen before.
Right.
Okay. So, I look at, some people are saying he was cherry-picking, didn't play defense. 92 points is 92 points.
Exactly.
We're talking 32 minutes in a game.
Right.
I mean, basically what he did is he took enough shots for himself and his brother combined. I think people are making way too much of the whole he's selfish angle and,
right.
this is bad sportsmanship. Today is not the era of 100 years ago. Okay?
Right.
I think people really need to get over themselves if they've got a problem with it. I think they should just, relish the fact that look what this kid did.
Right.
He's not a selfish player. Okay, the last game I covered, he had 27 points and 8 assists or 7 assists.
Yeah.
It was. It depends on what the defense is giving you. On
right.
that game in particular against Rancho, they had 2 and 3 people on him. Okay, he can defer to other people.
Right.
And then if the other team is scoring with you, you're going to find a way to score more points, and that was their way to score more points. I think people are coming down on the kid way, way too much.
Yeah,
if anything, come down on the coaches, come down on the other team.
Exactly.
He's doing what his coaches are telling him to do, and he's doing in the framework what they're supposed to do to win the game. And that's Chino Hills' MO anyway. They score a lot of points. They don't always play a ton of defense. I think Melo can play defense when he needs to play defense, and I have seen him play defense. So I just wish people would get over it and appreciate it for the fact that what it is, and an amazing feat.
I agree.
And I want to say that, and I know Coach B has some comments he wants to make on it. We were talking again. We have a coach here in the studio with us. He's been coaching here forever, and we were just kind of just chatting about this, and that's what I was saying. I'm like, as a coach, if you're the coach and this kid is there, somebody scores 92 points on you. I mean. What is your thoughts about the other team? Because again, like as you said, we want to kind of take all the attention not so much off of Lamelo's performance, but look at the other side of the coin in terms of the opposing team. How you let that happen?
Well, I wasn't there, so that's a little bit harder to answer just because I wasn't there and I didn't see it.
Right.
So I don't know if I can really address that. I did talk to the other team's coach the next day, and he said, hey, we didn't do a good enough job guarding them, you know?
Right.
So,
Obviously.
maybe you have to put 2 or 3 people on it. And the hard thing about that is you can say, yeah, put 2 people on them or 3 people on them. The rest of their lineup's good. Okay?
Yeah.
Because if you put 2, 3 people on them, now somebody else, at least one other person's
It's going to
open.
be wide open, yeah.
So
Right.
it's easy to say put 2 or 3 people on them, but,
Yeah, I get it. And we're joined on the phone by Southern California News Group sports reporter Michelle Gardner on IE Sportsnet, Fox Sports 1350 with Coach B and Eternum. And, like you said, he did that in 32 minutes. And I'll tell you, my entire 4-year career at Downey High School, I didn't score 9 points. So for him to do 92 points in 32 minutes, that's amazing. But, this is something we kind of touched base on last year, Michelle. Lamelo Ball's father, he feels that the youngest, who's actually playing up, he's a year up, so he technically should be a freshman. He believes that he'll be the best of the 3. Now, Lonzo, who's lighting it up at UCLA, he's been the talk of the town. They're saying he could be a number 1 or number 2 pick. He never put up 92 points in a game, let alone as a sophomore. Now, can LaMelo be the best of the 3?
If you were to ask me this question last year, I would have laughed at you. Now watching him play this year, maybe. I think Lonzo is still an extraordinary talent. It's hard to compare anybody to him. LaMelo is 6'3". If he has another growth spurt in him, maybe he's 6'6", 6'7" again. He's got the same body frame as Lonzo does. I think potentially maybe, but I'm not ready to go there yet because I still think Zoe is an extraordinary talent, one that we may never see again. Now, certainly he's been putting up numbers, and I think Lonzo tended to be more the facilitator when he needed to be and then score when he needed to score. I think this kid's a little bit maybe more pure scorer, and that's where the points, maybe he's scoring more points than Lonzo did, but I'm not ready to go there and say he could be better yet. I understand where the father is coming from because this is a kid that when he was 10 was playing with kids that were, 15, 16, and 17. So
Right.
He's always been playing against kids 5 to 6 years older than himself, and he's absolutely fearless.
Right.
And he's basically done the same thing Lonzo's done, and he's done it at a younger age as far as the caliber of competition he's played against. So I can see where the dad says that. I understand it, but I'm not ready to go there quite yet. But maybe in the next year, we'll see what happens this time next year and see where the boy is at, and then we can probably discuss it again.
I remember Tim Hardaway Sr. talking about that when he was younger, how his dad would always make him play against older people. And, now Eternal's the older brother. I'm a younger brother. And I'll just say, this has nothing to do with me being a younger brother. I think LaMelo's going to be the best. I'm just saying he was a freshman.
Really?
He was a freshman playing in the open division, putting up 20 points, and they played a national schedule last year. I think he's going to be the best of the 3. Now, speaking of the open division playoff bracket, it was released last week. 3 Inland Empire schools, Chino Hills, Damien, Corona, Centennial, made the cut for the open division. And like we said, now that Lonzo is leading UCLA, can Chino Hills, can they defend their title this year? I know Oak Hill was a national power, but is there anyone in California, they're still ranked number 1, that can give them a run?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, very much so. Sierra Canyon out of Chatsworth, they beat Oak Hill. Okay, so
Oh, wow.
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah. Sierra Canyon, and that's a team that Chino Hills beat twice last year. They beat them in the Open Division playoffs, and they beat them in the state playoffs. Sierra Canyon is going to be the number 1 seed in the Open Division.
Oh, wow,
And
okay.
and Chino Hills will be too, and that's based on Sierra Canyon has played the type of schedule this year that Chino Hills played last year. So you're looking at Chino Hills probably not being the favorite and Sierra Canyon being
Wow.
the favorite. So that's the potential final matchup because I see those teams being 1 and 2. You're also looking at the fact that they're probably going to play Mater Dei in the semifinals. Now, Mater Dei, they did beat this year, but that was before the arrival of 7'2" Bull.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. The son
Where'd they
of
find
Manu
these
Yeah.
Bull. Okay. He looks like his father.
Yes,
Is that
I-
Manute's?
And he
Manute?
might be
It's
more
Manute's
skilled
son.
at this age than his father. So you're talking that Chino Hills played Mater Dei, beat them by 11 this year, but that was before Bull. So you're looking at them having to beat both Mater Dei and Sierra Canyon. So can they win it? Yes. It's going to be way more difficult than it was last year when they basically beat everybody by 20 to 30 points.
Exactly. Now, keeping in the baseline league, of course, Chino Hills, what they've been able to do is just over the past years has just been making huge headlines. However, right around the corner, you have Damon, 25-3 overall, 8-2 in the league. Should we be talking more about this team, and what is your perspective on that team and what they can do in the playoffs?
I love Damien. You look at their schedule, and they have 2 losses to Chino Hills and 1 to Mater Dei. Okay.
Right, exactly.
That's 3 pretty good losses. Now, the one thing that I question about them is they don't necessarily have a lot of size, and sometimes in the open division, you got to have a big somewhere along the way. So I don't know if they have the size, but they're probably going to be somewhere around a 7, 8, 9 seed, and they're a very, very good team. Now, Cameron Shelton is their leading scorer, and he was the 6th man at Chino Hills last year, transferred to Damien, which is an interesting, transfer. You're going from Chino Hills to Damien. But he has really blossomed into a fantastic player. But they also have a lot of other players on that team, too. I think Damien is better than they were last year.
Oh, wow, okay.
Bryce Peters was a great player, but I think Damien was more reliant on just him last year. I think Damien's got more depth this year. They've got a lot of players that can shoot, a lot of players that can hurt you. So I like Damien a lot. Now, again, you look at their draw, it's the big boy division. So I think Damien is definitely a team that could win a couple of games. I don't know if they can necessarily run the table, go all the way. I think the top 4 in this section are loaded. You're talking the 3 we've already talked about,
right,
with Bishop Montgomery probably being the 4. So
wow.
I see Damien very capable of winning a couple games, but it's going to be tough for them to go all the way because I just don't think they have the size.
And, speaking of that, one more thing I wanted to ask you. We talk a lot about the Ball brothers, but let's talk about Baseline League. And this, like I said, this has nothing to do with me having 2 kids at Etiwanda and a 3rd on his way. But the point guard at Etiwanda, he had a clip to go viral because he blocked Lamelo's shot. He tried to do another half court 3-pointer.
Right.
So who are some of the players? I know you're very close to that Baseline League. Who are some of the players in the team? You don't hear a lot about Etiwanda anymore. They used to be the power in that conference.
Well, let's go back to Chino Hills first. Besides the Ball brothers, you have Eli Scott, who's a rebounding machine. I love that kid. We're in the game that Lamelo scores 92. Eli Scott has 29 points, 20-something boards, and
wow,
10 assists. I think it was 14 assists. And he gets no mention at all. So Eli Scott's a great player. He's going on to Loyola Marymount. And then you've got Oneka Okongwu, the Nigerian kid. Now, he's a 15-year-old sophomore, too. He put up 31 points.
Wow.
13 boards and blocked 8 shots against Rancho. He is a menace in the paint.
Wow.
He's, a 15-year-old sophomore, too. So those 2 guys get overlooked on Chino Hills because of the Ball brothers. But they're fantastic players. So you got those 2 guys. You've got Shelton at Damien, who I've already mentioned. Another guy that I really, 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 really like is Kessler Edwards from Etiwanda. Now, he's a junior. But this kid is getting better and better every game I see him play. A lot of times you see a guy have a good game, bad game, good game, bad game. This kid is literally getting better every game I've seen him play. He's about 6'6", 6'7" as well. Nice variety of shots. He can even hit a 3 at that size. So I think Kessler Edwards is probably the most improved player that I've seen this season over the course of the season.
Good stuff. So we definitely thank you for calling in. That's good information. It's funny. We had the Etiwanda baseball coach on last week, and we said, what sport in the Baseline League is not a dominant sport? Football, basketball, baseball, girls basketball, everything is dominant in that league.
Actually, girls basketball I think is a little down because Etiwanda is very, very good in the girls, and let's throw a plug in there for them. They are the number 2 ranked team in 1AA, and they're probably going to be the number 2 team in the open division. They've got a shot at running the table, the Etiwanda girls do. But actually, the one sport that's a little down is girls basketball in the Baseline, and I'm a little disappointed with that. But maybe it's just that Etiwanda is that much better than everybody else because they've pretty much coasted in this league in the last few years.
There you go.
Good perspective. Michelle Gardner, thank you so much. As always, we keep up the good work. You're one of the ones that we always look to get that honest perspective. We know you'll shoot it straight, so we always appreciate that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Absolutely. Miss Michelle Gardner. What good information on that. That Baseline League. What a league, you know?
Yeah. Well, again, I'm always excited to have Miss Gardner on because, again, her information is always good. She's boots on the ground, so anytime we get a chance to have her on, it's always exciting.
Absolutely. We're going to take a commercial break. I know Coach Rome is coming up, and I know he's going to have something to say about, hey, don't forget that Citrus Belt.
Right.
One of the most historic leagues in the state. It's over 100 years old.
Yeah, so, we'll definitely talk about that. And we have to ask him about the 92 points.
Right.
Because, Coach Rome he's like a Parker, he's a Park player too. He'll put, he understands the pickup game and
he'll lace up on you.
Yeah, and he understands when you out there and somebody just got to just goes for crazy points. There's certain things you're supposed to do. So anyway, we'll talk about that.
Absolutely.
And we'll go from there.
Let's do a commercial break. So you are listening to IE Sportsnet connected by Boost Mobile with Coach B.
And Eternal. When it comes to Inland Empire Sports, the conversation starts and stops here live on Fox Sports 1350.
You're listening to IESportsNet.com, the Inland Empire Sports Authority.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto and Pradaxa users. If you or a loved one has taken the blood-thinning drugs Xarelto or Pradaxa and suffered an injury or even died, you could be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-282-8605 now. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to internal bleeding, strokes, and pulmonary embolisms. If you or a loved one has taken these blood-thinning drugs and have been hospitalized for internal bleeding, you could be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Don't be a silent victim. Time is limited to file your claim. Call now for free information and a free consultation. Lines are open 24/7. Call 800-282-8605. That's 800-282-8605. 800-282-8605. You could be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-282-8605 now.
All right, guys, we're ready for our Four Seasons sunroom, and Daddy's gonna get a rec room with refreshments.
Oh no, we'll be sleeping under the stars.
Mom, what about the one with, the fun?
Nice try, little bro. It's a gym. My gym.
Hey, Grandma's getting her Four Seasons garden room. Weather tight and still like being outdoors.
Maybe a living room. Oh no, wait, a family hub.
Yeah!
No matter what the budget, the season, or the climate, Four Seasons sunrooms let you and your family enjoy the outdoors inside. Call now to hear more about these great offers from the premier manufacturer of sunrooms since 1975.
More reasons for Four Seasons now.
To find out more, call toll-free 800-973-5533. That's 800-973-5533. Call 800-973-5533 today.
Hello, my name is Officer Richard Guerrero, Vice President of the Fontana Police Officers Association. We're more than just a labor organization. The Fontana Police Officers Association is serious about giving back to our community, particularly to our kids. We found that kids who study, do well in school, volunteer regularly, and participate in sports are less likely to become involved in criminal activity and illicit drug usage. Each year we provide thousands of dollars in scholarships to local kids, community causes, and we are proud sponsors of the Inland Valley All-Star Classic Series. The Fontana POA and strong community leadership will make way for safer and more prosperous community.
Score Sports has been a loyal partner in the sports industry for over 40 years. Founded in 1975, Score Sports has always been a family-owned and operated business located in the heart of Southern California. They offer a full line of youth and adult soccer uniforms, accessories, and field equipment, youth and adult basketball uniforms and accessories and equipment. Score Sports can outfit your coaches and league referees as well, and much more. Their dedication and attention to detail has transformed Score Sports into one of the leading sport uniform manufacturers in the United States. Visit their spacious warehouse at 726 East Anaheim Street in Wilmington, or call them today at 800-626-7774. That's 800-626-7774. Or visit them on the web at scoresports.com. That's scoresports.com, at facebook.com/scoresports, or on Twitter and Instagram with the handle Score Sports. That's SCORESPORTS.
What's up? This is Nick Young of the LA Lakers. You rocking at IE Sportsnet.
The Inland Empire Sports Authority.
Yes, we are back in the great city of Riverside, California. It is IE Sportsnet, connected by Boost Mobile, live on Fox Sports 1350. I am your host, Eternal.
And I am the one and only Coach B. You know, when it comes to Inland Empire Sports, the conversation starts and stops here. You know, since that movie came out, I have been on a New Edition kick. I can't tell you how much New Edition stuff I've been listening to. This I'm going to age myself, but the very first 45 that I bought in my, not even a record,
right?
45,
right?
That I bought was Popcorn Love.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, last week, me and my guys, we used to it was a huge deal about who was gonna do or play Ralph in the talent show. It was like 4 years straight, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. You know what I mean? It was just, it was a big deal. My take, the best New Edition video ever. Can You Stand the Rain?
Right.
You know what I mean? Was probably like one of the that video was right in terms of like this the fashion and the way they were doing it. They were talking about how the media was talking about them. It was just a really epic video. Just for me.
I'll tell you this: since we've done IE Sportsnet for 5 years now, we started in 2012.
No doubt.
Being around you all this time, getting to know you, you're more of a Bobby. I'll just say that. So.
He called me Bobby Brown, folks.
Yeah. So, don't be cruel. But we're excited. And G Holler right on cue.
And let me tell you something. I could never get the Gumby. I tried so hard. I mean,
did you see the movie? It looked like it was a mistake when you got the Gumby.
That's what they were talking about. So, yeah.
That's fun. But that was an actual hairstyle.
No, guaranteed. The Gumby was the lick. I remember, and a lot of people, the Gumby just became a gum. It never actually Gumby.
I can never get my Gumby right.
Yeah, and it took, you had to get it right. That's why I said so. So shout out to all the guys that could get a Gumby.
Yes. So with no further ado, one of the things that has made IE Sportsnet the power, the juggernaut it is, we have to thank this fine young gentleman. And the funny thing is we always got to preface it with the story because we're going to talk a little bit about A.B. Miller basketball. We're going to talk about Inland Valley Classic. And I'll say it again. I remember when I first met with this guy because the previous football coach, we wanted to do some things with him. And I remember because I called Eternal after this. I'm sitting here meeting with him, and I'm throwing all these ideas at him, and he's not budging. And I'm like, man, he's not feeling what I'm saying. And he just leans back in his seat, and he says, you know what? I've been trying to do this basketball all-star game for about 2 years, Inland Valley Classic. Would you be interested in getting involved? And without hesitation, I said, oh, yeah. We can get everything done.
What you need to do, mop the floor?
Had no idea how we were going to get it done.
Right.
But in sales, that's what you do. You got to sell it. So with no further ado, we want to say the guy that had the vision, that had the thought process to bring back, he's a San Bernardino County guy. He is the A.B. Miller head basketball coach and the visionary when it comes to the Inland Valley Classic Series. Coach Rome on IE Sportsnet, Fox Sports 1350 with Coach B and Eternal.
Morning, guys. Good to be here.
Yes, sir, man.
And it's good to be a visionary.
You get a chance to soak it all in for a little bit,
Right. And I want to get with Brian after the show and find out exactly what a 45 is.
Right.
Oh, that's funny. Coach Rome, again, thank you so much for being here. We always obviously appreciate that. Before we get into your, because again, obviously you've been your season concluded with A.B. Miller, the basketball team. I want to get some perspective with you about the Chino Hills team and what they've been doing. Obviously, we've seen it all over the news. So I wanted to get you're a coach. What is your thought process about, first thing first, about him, Lamelo Ball scoring 92, and then about if you're the coach defending him, how do you deal with that? Like, what is your thought process about allowing somebody to score 92 on you?
Well, I think Michelle hit it, right on the head. I mean, at the end of the day, it's 92 points in 32 minutes, which is impressive no matter how you look at it.
Right.
As an opposing coach, I think what you do is you have to break the game down. And what's the mission? The mission wasn't to win. They were going to win that game anyway.
Right.
The mission was they're going to get this kid 100. That's my belief.
Yeah.
I understand they were taking timeouts to stop the clock so we get more shots. I understand nobody else took a shot in the fourth quarter so we could get more shots.
Right.
As an old school kind of coach, and there's a lot of those guys out there still.
Right.
I don't know that that's good for the game. It's
right.
Not, Michelle brings up the point about the other kids on that team. They're fantastic. And Oak Hill Academy is the kind of team they need to be playing because their top 5-6 kids are all Division I kids, just like Oak Hill.
Right.
But you know, again, at the end of the day, 92 points. I would have tried to throw 2 or 3 guys at him because that's got to be your mission now.
Right.
Is to not let him get whatever it is they're trying to get.
And you know, this I know that Coach Roma's a baller. Let me ask you, Coach, what are the most points you ever scored in a game in your life?
At any level?
Yes, any level.
I went for 40 in a men's league a couple times.
See, that's what I'm talking about. See, ballers know their stats.
I was on fire.
I went for 42 and 2. You know?
and Coach knows, like when you're playing against somebody, like I was telling Coach, I remember the times like a guy going for 30 against us, like anyone in the game. I remember that vividly. Like when, you know, and I was like, man, like you know, but somebody get 92 on you. Like, that's where, like, the basketball player, because, you know, and again, a lot of kids nowadays, they grow up in the AAU system where you don't play, like, pickup basketball with your guys. Where you went out there with the purpose to go out here and play.
Right.
And it's just you and the guys playing versus, you know, somebody kind of coaching you with some kind of weird scheme. So
the most points I ever put up, Coach, was 5. I won a game of horse once. So I won a game of horse.
But I'm sure they were throwing 2 or 3 guys at I would also go back to, you know, Ed Kirby, longtime coach at Fontana High School, and, you know, San G guy, protege of Doug Stockham, who I'm sure you're familiar with as a Ramona guy. I guarantee that, you know, Lamelo would have seen within the rules of the game some sort of, you know, physical defense.
Yes.
And to kind of take him out of what he was trying to do. But, again, 92 points is 92 points. There's not a lot you can say against it.
Exactly, yeah. And again, we got to put an asterisk there. Cheryl Miller, Riverside, California, Poly High School, put up the Yardbird. You know, so I want to make sure I put
and
that
Reggie put up 62 was his most, right? I think.
Probably sounds right. But, again, those I think were made within the flow of a game.
Right, exactly.
A real game with real average high school teams.
Right.
You know, good high school teams, but average high school teams, not 6-7 Division I players playing against. And Los Osos is a good high school team, solid.
Right.
But they don't have 6 Division I kids.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree on that.
because at Downey High School under Coach Shelton, I didn't put up 0 points. So, hey, Coach Shelton, how you doing?
Right. Coach, let's talk about this Inland Valley Classic. We're going on year 3 with our basketball game. And when I tell you the excitement we get with this, you know, that was the first thing. And obviously that was something that you were the architect of. This past January, we just hosted the Inland Valley Hall of Fame Classic at A.B. Miller. When you first had the concept of the basketball game, did you expect this thing to kind of, you know, I mean, when I know Coach B just talked about that first meeting you guys had. Did you ever envision that it can like sprout out and do all the things that it's doing right now for the community?
I did, and it's because it really wasn't my vision. I was just piggybacking on the vision that the Daily Bulletin had all those years. That game ran, I think, if it wasn't 30 years, it was close to 30 years out at Cal Poly Pomona.
Right.
It went away, and it was always near and dear to my heart and a lot of the guys that coach in the area. Just such a great event. And so it was really more about bringing something back that was already pretty good.
Certainly.
But it had been gone for a few years. So the groundwork was kind of demolished on it. So we had to start from square one. And, you know, like Brian alluded to, I worked on it for 2 years. I just didn't want to do it wrong and screw it up.
Right.
So that's why I didn't do it before it was time.
Right.
And the right, you know, pieces fell into place, and me meeting you guys and sort of being able to work together, and that's what's made it so great. Speaking of the Hall of Fame Classic, I had a long conversation during that game with Louis Brewster after he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. He was one of the guys that really was the architect of that
Who
original
started
game.
at Fontana Herald.
Yeah.
Right.
Really good guy, by the way,
Great
too.
guy.
Really
And,
good guy.
He's agreed to come out and either speak at the banquet or be involved in the game somehow. But
great.
I really picked his brain, you know, going forward on that game, and you know, he was more than happy to help. He was devastated when it went away, and so he was a good guy, and you know, Pete and Michelle as well, good people to have involved because they were there and the original game was playing.
So now we know to get Louis out, we got to put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So every year.
Right, every year. And again, just a quick note about that. And I tell you, Louis Bruce, and the fact that he kept saying that night when he was inducted to the Hall of Fame, he kept saying, man, you know, whatever you guys need in terms of just getting help, kind of getting stuff organized, he said he'd be more than happy to help out. And, you know, you got to, as we go forward and trying to, like, get this thing right, we have to get people like that on board. So
so the Hall of Fame was Louis Brewster. It was Shelton Diggs, and it was Coach Dick Bruick. They were the inaugural class. We were supposed to get the coach from A.B. Miller in the first class, but it didn't happen. But you were saying, Coach?
The thing is, to make something great happen, you need selfless people like Louis. Louis, you know, the first 5 things he talked about when I was with him on the sideline was he's holding his Hall of Fame plaque in his hand, and he said, "This isn't why I do any of this."
Oh yeah,
right, you know, and you know that right away. He's about the kids. He's about the community, and the same with Coach B. Winning his coach, California history or whatever. Southern California history anyway. And just a phenomenal man. And the first thing he'll tell you is, I had great assistants.
Right.
I was blessed with a lot of really good kids coming through our program.
And I got to make sure we say this. He means Coach B as in Coach Brewitt.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
We don't want to get him confused with this guy over here.
Eddie, I don't think there was any confusion there.
Right?
I'm just saying.
Bang, bang.
Right? So once again, we're joined in the studio by A.B. Miller, head basketball coach, Coach Rome on IE Sportsnet, Fox Sports 1350, with Coach B and Eternal. Now, Coach, the longest running game in the series, and I know you get jacked up about this, is the Inland Valley Basketball Classic. So coming in April, it was on the 16th, correct?
14th to 16th. You have to check my calendar.
It's one of the Sundays.
Yeah.
We're going to host the third annual game at A.B. Miller. Can you take a moment, and when we did the first year, it was really difficult for us to get the dominations and the players. The second year was a lot smoother, and I'm pretty sure you already have coaches telling you about the third year.
Yeah, people are talking about it. The event was so well run. We're getting a lot of the top kids who were honored to play. And the other thing about our game is, we're not taking kids that can just play. We ask the coaches to nominate kids that are good kids, maybe have some community service, have good grades. So you just get a really, really solid group of 12 players. And it's just, they're going to do the right thing, and it's fun to watch. And families love it. I'm really, really, really proud of it. And, of course, being basketball, it is the one that's nearest and dearest to my heart.
Absolutely. And, one thing that we noticed about at the football game is we didn't even, Eternal and I didn't even know this. It was a byproduct of the game. It's Coach Price at Yucaipa is a San Bernardino County native. Mm-hmm. And then Coach Gracia at Ayala is a San Bernardino County native. I know Ayala played at Chino. He was a really good quarterback over there. I'm not sure what Price played, but you're a full high graduate. Why is this game so important? And I've learned, I'm an outsider looking in, and Eternal's kind of explained it to me, as I thought that Riverside and San Bernardino were brother and sister, but they really have their own pride. And why is this game so important to San Bernardino County?
Well, you go back years. And I even picked up on it when I was a kid. You had the Riverside Press Enterprise versus the San Bernardino Sun. There was always this sort of rivalry there. But I think the game's so important to San Bernardino County because it's so big. When I was playing in the Citrus Belt League back in the day, our league was like Sanjay, Fontana, Eisenhower, Redlands, Riverside Poly, and Palm Springs. We were all over the map. I don't know the number exactly, but I'm not sure how many new schools are in the county now. But our game encompasses, we go as far west as Chino Hills, Walnut, that area, all the way out east to, Yucaipa, Banning, up to the high desert. There's a ton of schools, and with that comes a ton of talent. So
right.
I think the Riverside San Bernardino thing is still kind of a good thing to do, but when you can get such a good competitive game with just San Bernardino County kids who all know each other, who a lot of them have played against each other or with each other over the years, it just makes it a little more intense. And both years, our games have been phenomenal.
Right.
Just in terms of spectatorship.
Yeah. Now, talk to us a little bit about who do you, in terms of right now we're going into playoffs. Mm-hmm. Who are some of the teams that obviously you have Chino Hills, but maybe you can kind of educate our audience about some other teams that maybe haven't been mentioned, because obviously, Chino Hills is like the juggernaut right now in terms of Inland Empire basketball, really California basketball in itself, but maybe some other teams that are here in the Inland Empire that people should keep an eye on.
Sure. The Open Division, they just announced the 16 teams there, and as Brian mentioned, 3 Inland Empire teams are in that division. And Michelle made a great point that a lot of people don't pick up on. Sierra Canyon probably will be the number 1 seed. They're 25-1 this year.
Wow.
Their only loss comes to Nathan Hale out of Seattle. Nathan Hale is a team that was under 500 last year. They're now coached by former NBA player Brandon Roy. They're 25-0.
Brandon Roy, from Portland.
Correct.
Had the knees.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
So all of a sudden they got a couple new players, something like 12. And, they're no
what
longer,
a coincidence, huh?
So they went from under a sub 500 team to 25-0, and ranked in the national top 10 in 1 year. Pretty impressive. But so Sierra Canyon will be up around the top, and Corona Centennial, very good team. But got swept in league by Roosevelt, and Roosevelt's a big sleeper.
Hey, let me tell you something about Roosevelt. We had our guy on, a kid I know well, our guy Matt Mitchell, who is studying.
That's who it was, because me and Coach were talking about that when we were talking about. I couldn't remember the kid's name.
That's right. Matt Mitchell, and we've I've been watching him since he was a kid. He was like in 7th grade, and I remember when I saw, because first thing Coach B, when I saw the kid, he had some feet. I'm trying to tell you, this kid just walk in, he could just kick over chairs or something like that, but. And I was like, man, this kid's going to be tall, and he has just turned into a humble kid, know his family really well, but that kid can play. So there's no question about.
I know
Roosevelt.
you're getting excited, but we got to take the
okay.
break signal.
Okay.
My goodness.
All right, I know.
Because we could talk, Coach Rome. I know he did his homework. Season's over, Coach. No need to scout, but he has his report. He's ready to go. Let's take a quick commercial break.
The season's not over. We're knee deep, man. We got a game coming up.
I don't need Mike hitting me up again, so let's make sure we get this break in order. Yes, you're listening to IE Sports Net, connected by Boots Mobile with Coach B.
Andy Turner. When it comes to Inland Empire Sports, the conversation starts and stops here live on Fox Sports 1350.
When we come back, Coach Rome is going to start breaking down some high school playoffs. Playoffs?
You're listening to IESportsNet.com, the Inland Empire Sports Authority.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto and Protexxa users. If you or a loved one has taken the blood-thinning drugs Xarelto or Protexxa and suffered an injury or even died, you could be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-282-8605 now. Xarelto and Protexxa have been linked to internal bleeding, strokes, and pulmonary embolisms. If you or a loved one has taken these blood-thinning drugs and have been hospitalized for internal bleeding, you could be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Don't be a silent victim. Time is limited to file your claim. Call now for free information and a free consultation. Lines are open 24/7. Call 800-282-8605. That's 800-282-8605. 800-282-8605. You could be entitled to substantial financial compensation. Call 800-282-8605 now.
All right, guys, we're ready for our four-season sunroom, and Daddy's gonna get a rec room with refreshments.
Oh no, we'll be sleeping under the stars.
Mom, what about the one with, the fun?
Nice try, little bro. It's a gym. My gym.
Hey, Grandma's getting her Four Seasons garden room. Weather tight and still like being outdoors.
Maybe a living room. Oh no, wait, a family hub.
Yeah! No matter what the budget, the season, or the climate, Four Seasons Sunrooms let you and your family enjoy the outdoors inside. Call now to hear more about these great offers from the premier manufacturer of sunrooms since 1975.
More reasons for Four Seasons now.
To find out more, call toll-free 800-973-5533. That's 800-973-5533. Call 800-973-5533 today.
Hello, my name is Officer Richard Guerrero, Vice President of the Fontana Police Officers Association. We're more than just a labor organization. The Fontana Police Officers Association is serious about giving back to our community, particularly to our kids. We found that kids who study, do well in school, volunteer regularly, and participate in sports are less likely to become involved in criminal activity and illicit drug usage. Each year, we provide thousands of dollars in scholarships to local kids, community causes, and we are proud sponsors of the Inland Valley All-Star Classic Series. The Fontana POA and strong community leadership will make way for safer and more prosperous community.
Score Sports has been a loyal partner in the sports industry for over 40 years. Founded in 1975, Score Sports has always been a family-owned and operated business located in the heart of Southern California. They offer a full line of youth and adult soccer uniforms, accessories, and field equipment, youth and adult basketball uniforms and accessories and equipment. Score Sports can outfit your coaches and league referees as well, and much more. Their dedication and attention to detail has transformed Score Sports into one of the leading sport uniform manufacturers in the United States. Visit their spacious warehouse at 726 East Anaheim Street in Wilmington, or call them today at 800-626-7774. That's 800-626-7774. Or visit them on the web at scoresports.com. That's scoresports.com, at facebook.com/scoresports, or on Twitter and Instagram with the handle Score Sports. That's SCORESPORTS.
Yo, what up? This is Sendog from Cypress Hill. You're listening to me on IE Sportsnet all day long, all day strong, you heard?
Yes, we're live in the great city of Riverside at the iHeartRadio studios. It's IE Sportsnet live on Fox Sports 1350. I am your host, Eternal.
And I am the one and only Coach B. It sounds like a fine is coming down the pipeline. So when it comes to Inland Empire Sports, the conversation starts. The great thing. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I got to make sure we say we are connected by Boots Mobile. Peace out.
There you go. One of the great things about having Coach Rome is this guy is a basketball guy. Yes. He talks basketball, and I love it because as someone who can understand dissecting film and doing stuff like that. Don't worry about Eternal. Me and Rome can have a great conversation about this type of stuff because he's a Cowboys fan. So what can you expect?
Best in the business.
So let's talk some more playoff basketball.
Now, Coach. Here's the situation. We as Michelle Gardner talked about, we were talking about some other teams and like Damian being one. Give us some players that are out there that we should really kind of keep our eye on, because I know that there's some players out there that are doing some very spectacular things. I know that you've got a chance to just see them because, and then you have that coaches circuit of people that you guys get a chance to talk about. Who are the coaches talking about out there outside of some of the other players that I think they're kind of already notable?
When you're talking individual players, one of my favorites is, I believe, Jordan Williams at Tockwitz, one of the best guards in the area. He's just a well put together kid, stocky, strong, aggressive, can shoot it, can drive it. He's an excellent player. Tockwitz is in Division I AA, I believe.
Really?
They're going to be very good. They'll be a tough out in that division because when you look at Division I AA, most of those teams have moved up to the open division. So
right.
So Tockwitz, I think, has a chance to make some noise. They've got a good squad. You look at Kim Aiken over at Redlands East Valley. Very good player. He's very skilled.
I've heard a lot about him.
Yeah. They also have a 6'9" junior, Mikael Williams, who's very solid. And again, biased a little bit with the CBL.
Hey, no, we got to put it out there. 'Cause I know Michelle's. When she called, she talked about the baseline league pretty heavy, and like Coach B said, 100 years in running. So,
Colony's got a few kids. Colony's playing very well. They're the number 1 seed in Division II AA.
Didn't they win? Did they win their league? 'Cause I know that
they've won their league like 12 years in a row.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're on a roll, but they've got some very good players there. That I think can push them deep into the playoffs. I don't know all the players by name outside of our league, but I know a few. We look at Cajon. Cajon's Jeremiah Martin.
Right.
And a couple guards there. Cameron Brown, excellent player. They're going to make some noise in playoffs. So, yeah, you got a lot of good Inland Empire kids, outside of the open division that are going to make some noise.
And then one thing that we have to do, your first priority, of course, is to be the head basketball coach of A.B. Miller. Now, I know it was a kind of a down year for you this year, but were there any special seniors that you're going to be sending off this year, or even any underclassmen that you were like, because I know you have some good young guys on your team.
Right.
Take a minute and talk about that A.B. Miller Running Rebels team.
It was a trying season just because basketball is a strange mistress sometimes. We had a great year last year, quarterfinals, graduated 9 guys, and most of our issues this year were just personnel. We had, and you look at one of my good friends, Russell White at Crespi High School, coming off back-to-back state champions, and he had a few injuries and things go on this year, and I think they finished under 500. And,
oh wow!
So he and I are good. Looks like we're both going to miss the playoffs for the first time in a long time. I know I haven't missed them as a coach since like 1999, so it's been a great run.
Don't party like it's 1999.
Right. So this year was trying in that regard, but when we're looking at our lineup and we have 2 freshmen and a sophomore starting most of the season, you're going to have ups and downs. And so I've got some great young players I'm really excited about. It's the little glitch in the radar, and that's it. We'll be back next year, ready to roll. A lot of really good freshmen in our program, so it's exciting. It's going to be very competitive spring and summer. So
your freshman coach can't be too happy with you when you raided his cookie jar.
We didn't raid him. We spread them out a little bit. Our freshman team actually had a very good season.
Okay.
And we had 2 freshmen at the JV level and 2 starting at the varsity level. So.
And your freshman coach said I could have went undefeated.
Yeah, he might have mentioned that a few times. Yeah, he might have mentioned that a few times.
I'm sorry.
So that's good stuff. So, and one thing that's unique about coaching, and when I coach youth football, when you're having a good year, you're the best thing since sliced bread. When you're having a bad year, not so much.
Right.
What has that been like for you? I know there's been some, with this year. Have you experienced that where people think, does coach still have it?
I don't think so this year, and maybe I'm just not sensitive.
That's
to
right.
it
You're
anymore.
Coach Rome.
I think the sensitivity factor's gone. I think when I figured things out as a coach, I don't know when it was, but you start realizing that when you're winning, the outside perspective is because you're a genius. You're doing great.
Right.
You're doing great thing or it's because you have great players. And then when you're not winning, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing. So once you can accept that, that's how the outside world looks at you as a coach, and I think that's true at all levels.
Right.
Then you just coach. You just worry about what's in front of you, and not worry about all the noise around you.
And being a varsity coach, being a varsity coach, this is one thing that I always think is unique because you're like the CEO of the whole program. So you're in charge of even though you're not the freshman coach, you're in charge of it. It's freshman and JV.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in your office, and you have jerseys, I think, from when Larry Bird was playing high school basketball. So it's like you have, how many years of jersey? Talk about that. That's something that people don't think about because you're in charge of so many things in addition to just coaching the team.
Yeah, no, it's a big task. And my former assistant, Ricky Roper's head coach at Gar High School now. He does a great job.
In Cerritos?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That's one of my rivals. We used to slap Gar up.
Yeah, they're winning league championships every year out there now. But
they beat Coach Shelton at Downey?
So Coach, he just told you bow down.
Yeah.
Hey, oh, no, please. You were saying, excuse me.
No, I'll just never forget. He was a great assistant, and Coach done some really good teams with me at A.B. Miller. And when he took his first head job was at Nogales, and he called me his first week, and he said, Coach, I don't know how you do it. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because by the time I make my phone calls, order my stuff, manage my freshmen and JV, I'm exhausted when I hit the practice floor. And most of us as coaches will tell you our favorite part of coaching is practice.
It's practice.
Yeah,
we love practice. And he was a great practice guy.
We're talking about practice.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, another thing I wanted to get with you in terms of national news. Right now, a lot of people are talking about this, and obviously as a coach, I think and then that's just as a fan of basketball, you see what's going on over there with the New York Knicks, and you see, which is kind of it's just crazy. Tell me about what your thoughts were when you saw that whole kind of Oakley ordeal over there with New York, and obviously what
something happened at the Garden.
Well, you know what Charles Oakley obviously means to the New York Knicks brand, and kind of what he represents there as and then you see him, you see that kind of thing. What was your perspective when you saw that? What were your thoughts on that?
I watched a little bit of it on ESPN last night. I saw Charles, whatever you want to say, having his meltdown and being escorted out.
Right.
I don't know all the background on that. I was a fan of Charles, when he was a player, and I was watching as a young guy. I have New York and New Jersey roots, so I do follow the Knicks quite a bit.
We excuse that.
Hey, big Italian family, so
right.
So it's disappointing, but New York is it's supposed to be the toughest market,
right?
For athletes and pro sports, and
right.
You heard the fans chanting, for Charles after he was taken out. So that's how important he is to them.
Certainly.
But I don't know. I thought it was a little early to be saying he had an alcohol addiction.
Right.
I don't know if you put that out there.
Right.
Yeah.
2 minutes after he walks out, the press release says that.
But he obviously had something going on. Because that was not a good public scene.
No question.
So, but I don't really know enough about it to comment on it.
Yeah. Yeah, just one of those things you see, and obviously it's disappointing on both sides. I think a lot of people were, even Charles Barkley was saying, I think one of the intelligent things he did say was that it was just bad for basketball, period.
Right.
You saw that right there.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
stopped the game, and from fans, it just kind of, and then you're talking about that more than you're talking about the games. That's obviously it's disappointing.
And you know what, Eddie? That's a theme that coaches like myself who work hard with kids who work hard. There's so many things out there that aren't about the game.
Right.
Is 92 points about the game? I don't know. Is Charles Oakley getting tossed out of the Garden the most important thing that happened in NBA basketball that night? I don't think so.
Right.
But that's kind of how our media is right now and everything. And hey, I got to throw one thing in there real quick.
Please do.
Give us assist.
Please do.
So, girls basketball isn't my thing. I still follow it because it's basketball, but I don't, I couldn't tell you the top 10 teams in the county like that. But a basketball player is a basketball player to
Certainly.
me. So I met some tremendous young ladies in Panda Express last week.
Okay.
They were wearing their blue sweatsuits. I said, hey, where do you guys play? They said Aquinas High School. I said, how you guys doing this year, and because they were very serious. They were in their team meal,
right.
Doing their thing, and I said, how you guys having a good year? Like, yeah, we're having a good year. I said, what's your record? Like 23-0.
Wow.
So that's a pretty good year.
Whoa.
So they're a story that nobody's hearing about.
Wow.
Right.
23-0.
They can play, and they're going into the playoffs next week like everybody else, but nobody's hearing about these girls. So I want to give them a shout out, wish them good luck.
Good job, Coach.
I'm definitely going to be following them because 23-0.
That's something.
Under the radar is something that is pretty hard to do.
Yeah. And not to cut you off,
Please.
but the funny thing, the byproduct of exactly what you said is one of your good friends is Coach VP.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember 2 years ago when we were doing the football game, And VP was disappointed because none of his kids got into the game. And he said, my kids are never going to get in that game. And that's where the brainchild for the 215 came from. So it's funny that you say that. In the Aquinas football guys, which I was surprised because Eternal told me that's a small school.
Tiny school.
Yeah, and they were interested in coaching the 215 game. So I didn't consider them a small school. But you were saying?
No, I was just commending Coach. I mean, that's one of the great things about what we do here. We get a chance not only just, as a fan of basketball, and then also obviously as a coach. One of the things I like about our game is that we get a chance to get people like that in. Like we see, one of the young ladies that I still get a chance to kind of take a look at is Miss Kayla Washington, who's over at Washington
Tremendous
State.
kid.
Yeah. And I remember we had her on, did her first radio interview, and we were at the other radio station. And I remember, and she was just, her dad was just glow, he was just always just telling her, say, hey, man, she's just a great player. And I was like, got to see her. And then we got a chance to spend time with her at the All-Star game, which was great.
Yep.
And, really great kids. So you get, it's special when you get a chance to see these kids come in as players, in high school. Then you see them matriculate on, and they're really doing great things. So I'm excited about our basketball game we have coming up to kind of see that new wave of talent that's coming out.
Absolutely. And I don't know what their lineup looks like age-wise, but we will definitely have an Aquinas girl playing in an All-Star game one way or another.
Right, exactly. 23-0. Undefeated is undefeated.
And when you talk about first, it's amazing when you think about that. Eternal and I, we don't really think and reflect. But, so many firsts, like Trey Watson starting running back at Cal. We gave him his first radio interview.
J.J. Dynamite Taylor.
First interview.
Yep.
Stephen Carr. We gave him his first radio interview. So, good stuff.
And then we didn't give him his first interview, but we got our guy Jalen Phillips in here. When this guy walked in here, we almost had to, do some reconstruction on the dang doorknob.
No, it was a kid from Keene.
Well, we had to put Vaseline on his arm.
The 7-footer.
Slide him in here. Yeah, that boy was huge. But no, I'm big up to our guy Jalen Phillips, who was he's like almost like the top recruit coming out.
No, my son, he's like kind of Tourette's with it. He said Jalen Phillips is the number one after the U.S. Army game.
Oh, he is.
He's number one in the nation now.
Yeah, that kid was flying. I don't know if you saw that game rolling down, but that kid was flying all over the place. My goodness.
And he's humble, and that's the thing. And even more humble was Coach Kirk Bruick when he said, I've never even coached a 5-star. And the good thing about Jalen Phillips that I can say, 4 years at Rev. He wasn't one of those kids that bounced around. 4 years at Rev. And he told the story about when he was a freshman, the quarterback at Rev had played 4 years at varsity and how he was jealous because they went to middle school together and his buddy's playing quarterback. And he's on the freshman team.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a quick Jalen Phillips story that you guys will appreciate. So our first county All-Star game last year.
I
see 4 guys hopping the back fence, not to get into the game, to get out of the game because they didn't want to walk all the way around.
That was this year, people trying to hop the fence, but I digress.
So they were leaving a little early and get over there, and it's Jalen Phillips and a couple of his Rev buddies. So I give them a hard time. I kind of know who they are, or at least Jalen. Anyway.
Right.
And they were totally like, oh, Coach, I'm so sorry. We just didn't want to walk all the way around to get to the car or whatever.
I remember you telling us about that.
And all I said was, hey, man, I'm going to tell Coach Bruick. And they're, oh, Coach, whatever you don't tell. I said, you know what? I'm going to do one worse. I'm going to tell your mother because his mother, Sabine, is big in the Redlands district. She's in management, great lady. And he was, I think that was worse than telling his coach. So, so we had a good laugh and let them out the gate to their car.
And you see that, Coach Rome, most of these good kids, there's no reason. I mean, there's a reason why they're like that because they come from good foundations. So.
Absolutely.
And if he keeps playing the way he is, she's going to be a former Reds employee because that kid is going to do some great things. I'm not a UCLA fan, but I'm excited to see what that kid is going to do at the UCLA next year. I think he's going to get on the field. When we saw him play against Etowanda, he was everywhere. He's definitely a 4-4 kid.
Yeah, and he's huge. We talked about it. We said, man, when that guy comes, when he's like, because he's a linebacker, so running back, see that guy
he's
on the edge.
He wants to be.
Exactly. Yeah. He's, all right. Okay, son. Okay, son. But yeah, that guy. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm getting out of there. So yeah, huge guy.
So we're excited once again, Coach Rome. Head basketball coach from Maybe Miller. Go ahead.
And again,
you
Coach,
cut his name?
No. I wanted to make sure. Please, let's drop that date again, please, for our game.
Soccer and the basketball.
Do we have some dates, right? We can get put out there.
Man, I've been in the middle of basketball season. I know the All-Star basketball game is either the 14th or 16th, whatever that Sunday is.
16th is Sunday, so it will be the 16th.
So then that means the soccer game is going to be May 14th, if I'm not mistaken.
That is a Sunday.
Okay.
Yep.
So again, Inland Empire, stay ready. Well, like Sugar Free said,
Inland
if you stay ready, Inland Valley. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
Yes, absolutely. And like we said, the ultimate vision is in 10, 15 years, kids will say, where you from? I'm from the Inland Valley.
Hey.
Yes, indeed. So we definitely appreciate Coach Rome for coming in. It's always a treat when you get a chance to have you come in. It's you're like the Oz. He's the guy behind the curtain, you know. So we love to have you come in, the visionary for the Inland Valley series. And like we said, we would not be able to go on the journey that we do now without the success of that Inland Valley Classic. So we're very, very appreciative.
Hey, and we'll be live at the Black History Parade. You know, we're not going to be in it.
You will be.
Well, yeah. I'm not going to be in it, but I'll be on the sidelines going down RCC to downtown Riverside.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening to IE Sports. You are tuned into the new home for IE Sportsnet every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. with Coach B.
Andy Turner. When it comes to Inland Empire sports, the conversation starts and stops here.
On Fox Sports Radio, 1350 a.m. IE Sportsnet every Saturday morning, 8 a.m.